It is a beautiful morning, Tim. Oh my gosh. We've got sun, we've got blue skies. We had a little bit of rain last night. And I am not in my big poofy jacket today. It's about 50. Not 30, not 20 degrees. It's 50. And it feels wonderful. I hope everyone is having a beautiful morning this Saturday, March 21st. Here in Washington, D.C., it's shaping up to be a great day. You can hear all the birds. And I'm just about where I want to start my walk today. And despite the fact that I set for no notifications, I still get notifications. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. See if I can safely cross. Catch the big buffalo there. Good morning, Daryl. Daryl, we are going to see cones today. Oh, we're going to see some magnificent cones today. Today we will tackle Q Street. I thought, let's pick a letter and let's do all of it. Well, Q Street is a pretty long street. It begins in Georgetown, heads across Rock Creek, and then goes all the way down to 11th Street in Northwest. So let's start in the middle. Today we'll start at Rock Creek and do all of Q Street east from Rock Creek. And then another day we'll come back and we'll head west. This bridge here on Q Street, if I were to continue west, I'm in Georgetown. But we're going to do the Northwest Washington, D.C. side. And you can see there's a race going on today. I don't want to misspeak. I think it's the Cherry Blossom Run or race. I don't know, but there are roads blocked all over the place in D.C. This is Rock Creek. Rock Creek takes a path through Washington, D.C. This is one of those few hilly areas in Washington, D.C. If I were to continue this way, you can just see the National Cathedral peeking out there with one last scaffold remaining from the earthquake in 2011. That's over 15 years ago. Or about 15 years ago, they're still doing reconstruction and repairs on the National Cathedral. Rock Creek runs all the way up into Maryland, into Montgomery County. And there are amazing hiking trails, parks, walking paths. It's 8 a.m. I'm going to pause for the national anthem because I can hear it. We are around a number of embassies and other government buildings, and at 8 a.m. every morning the national anthem plays. So I'll I just paused for a moment for the national anthem. I don't know if you could see it. Q Street, we're beginning at Rock Creek. The next street is 23rd Street that we'll cross, and we're going to be going all the way down until Q Street ends at 11th Street. And then we'll come back the other way to get a different view, because all of these buildings look different depending on the lighting. You can see these beautiful, beautiful buffalo statues that flank this bridge heading into Georgetown. Hi, Daikon. Nice to see you. This building here, the residence of the ambassador from Turkey. I'm going to cross quickly while I've got the light. Just one block up is Massachusetts Avenue. You know, we've traversed that route many times. We're going to crisscross over several of the state-named streets, heading our way toward the Cardozo area of Northwest Washington, D.C. Lily Cat, good morning. I hope you're having a great day in Colorado. Hi, Nezuko. Great to see you. Yeah, this residence of the ambassador from Turkey is pretty huge. We've looked at it on other videos, so I'm not going to walk up there. And then here on this side of the block, the Embassy of Romania is under construction right now, a little bit of renovation right now. Now, why did I pick Q Street? Well, Q Street has blocks of some of the most historic townhomes in Washington, D.C. The entire length of Q Street, all the way from Georgetown to where we will be today, has so many of these beautiful townhomes. And we're going to take a very slow walk today and appreciate all the beautiful architecture. Being careful about the traffic. Maybe I shouldn't be in the street. We tried. Good morning, Thomas. Hey. Hello from Houston, Texas. Flip the camera around. No, not today. I've done that before. Hey, Samuel. Hello, P7C2C2C. Great to see you. These are some beautiful townhomes, and here you'll notice they're wider than they are in other parts of the city. As you get closer to Georgetown and the Rock Creek, these were the more affluent blocks here in early Washington, D.C., with these buildings built in the late 1800s. I know for some of you in the world, 1800s, that's not very old. For the United States, that's really old. These homes are about 150 years old. We're celebrating America 250 this year. And these homes go back to about 150 years ago. I like this one. I really like this one. Look at all the detail, but it's not overdone. You know, some of these homes, you've heard me kind of criticize some of the Queen Anne style homes that just get built on and built on and built on, and then, I don't know, it's just kind of random. But I like this one. You can see there are two distinct patios, one above the front door and one on the next level up outside of those three upstairs windows. Now, of course, garages were later additions, but this block, you know, I would make this my thumbnail block for sure. 1776 Philly Phil. Now this one here, ooh, gas lamp. You know, I love a gas lamp. But check out the tiled roof there. It's kind of a modified terracotta. And then this one with the little gables above the top floor windows there. I like that. I love a mix of styles, and this area definitely has that. A good variety of architectural styles. And you'll see next to the doors, those, I don't know, brass, bronze, metal medallions there, those circular medallions with the compass. That indicates that these are recognized as historic structures in Washington, D.C. Good morning, everybody. Now this area, by the way, last week's stream, oh my gosh, the quality of the stream. That area had such a great signal. If you missed last week's live stream from the U Street corridor, check that out. The quality was insane. Hopefully the quality is good here today, although this is an area that sometimes I lose the signal. So if I do, please be patient. I will run until I recapture the signal. Okay, I don't feel bad. I had my Christmas tree up until about Valentine's Day. These folks went to St. Patrick's Day, so good on them. We are walking east. You can see the sun is burning off a little bit of the haze because it did rain last night. And we're gonna crisscross good old Massachusetts Avenue. But we'll see a few embassies this morning along this route. Wow, these birds are really having fun this morning. And we're seeing signs of spring everywhere. The buds on the trees look amazing. This building here in the center of the shot is the Embassy of Estonia. One of my favorites, not just because of the architectural style, but because of its position. It always catches the light. It's on this tippy corner of a triangular block. And so in the morning, it gets the beautiful light it's getting now on this side of the building. In the evening, it gets the golden hour sun at sunset. So it's always so well lit and well positioned. Now this is 22nd Street. Continuing down this way, you're still parallel to the Rock Creek, and you'll end up at George Washington University and Foggy Bottom and the Foggy Bottom Metro. But here, looking back, this building on the corner, this is the Embassy of Luxembourg, which faces Massachusetts Avenue. Some other embassies across the way, I think Tajikistan is over there. This building on the corner is an apartment building, and we've done a study on this building. Tim, I hope you're having a great day ahead of you. And then Estonia, but we're going to continue on Q Street. This is our plan today. We're walking Q Street from Rock Creek all the way until it ends at 11th Street. So this is about a 2-mile journey, two and a half maybe, mile and a half, a mile and a quarter up, mile and a quarter back. And then next time we'll tackle the other side of Q Street, which is in Georgetown. And of course the sun is right in my eyes right now. This grand Gilded Age masterpiece is the Cosmos Club, a private snooty members club from back in the day, still a members club today. Always decorated amazingly for Christmas, by the way. Let's stop and get a good look at it and all of its Gilded Age glory, with the beautiful cast iron canopy over the door, the mansard roof with the black tiles, black shingles, I should say, the artistic work around the windows, little bit of ironwork railings around the windows on the second floor, which I'm assuming are also French doors. And a beautiful sweeping driveway in front back in the day for your carriages to come right up to the door. But today, for cars to drop off the great and the good and the important. And another look back down on Massachusetts Avenue and that walk that we've done a million times, but it still looks amazing every time we do it. Now we're gonna find the right place to cross over Q Street. Oh, thank you. I appreciate this. Hi, Plugged Spark. This is Washington, D.C. And we are walking Q Street end to end. Just waiting for a chance to cross the street here. Good morning. Getting another look back at the Cosmo Club here. And right here, this is I think it's the Office of French Culture. The American Revolution Institute is part of this building. All about the long and wonderful friendship between the United States and France, our first friend. You know, historically, France will take any opportunity to battle the Brits. And so when we needed help, they were the first to raise their hands. And so this building and the institute herein commemorates that. These trees here, not cherry trees, these are dogwoods. Beautiful dogwood trees blooming right now. Everything is starting to peek out right now. So there's a look back at that Embassy of Luxembourg and a look across at the American Revolution Institute, commemorating the partnership between the United States and France. Another beautiful Gilded Age mansion, the Anderson House, here in Washington, D.C. Now here, and I don't think we've covered this before because I don't recall walking Q Street on a prior walk. This is part of the Embassy of India, occupying two separate structures. This building here is separate from this beautiful Gilded Age work here. Again, with that mansard roof, the beautiful ironwork railing now that goes the entire width of the building on that second story. No awning over the roof, over the front door. But really a beautiful structure. This is part of the Embassy of India. There are several buildings that comprise the Embassy of India. And here, very appropriately, on one of these triangle gardens that I've talked about before, the letter streets in Washington, D.C., A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and we're on Q. They run east to west. The numbers run north to south. There are wheels and spokes. And there are streets named for the states, like Massachusetts Avenue right here, that crisscross. The grid with the crisscrossing creates these little triangle parks all over the city. And they're great places for monuments and memorials. This one to Mahatma Gandhi. But we could do a whole video and try to find all the triangle parks. We wouldn't do it in one video. All the triangle parks in Washington, D.C. I do want to do a video of all the state names, see if I can get all 50 in one. It would have to be an edited video. Is that limestone around the windows? Yeah, limestone, granite. Maryland has several granite quarries. So a lot of the stone around Washington, D.C., marble and granite. The Washington Monument is built with stone from 2 different Maryland quarries. That's why there's 2 different colors. The Washington Monument. You just watched The Patriot last night. Philly Phil. I would love to say I love that film. That film gets on my nerves. Historically inaccurate, but maybe a little bit of fun. Hi, Mick Gray. Good afternoon from Essex in the UK. What's so historic about this place? Well, we're in Washington, D.C. We're in an area that was very important during the Gilded Age, the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Back in the day, all the wealthy families built these amazing mansions, right? Then the Great Depression happened. And a lot of these families, they had multiple mansions. They would have a mansion in their hometown, whether that was, Pittsburgh or, someplace industrial usually. And then they would have their home in New York because they wanted to be close to the banks, the financial industry. And then they'd have their summer home in New England, probably in Newport. And then they'd have their home here in Washington, D.C. to influence politics. Well, when the Depression hit, they had to decide which homes to get rid of. And several of them got rid of their Washington, D.C. homes. Good thing, though, because between the world wars, nations around the world wanted to enhance their relationships with the United States. And so they were looking for places to set up their foreign missions. And so what a wonderful story of historic preservation. When the families abandoned these magical mansions, then foreign missions moved in. And in this case, this is the Embassy of India. Yeah. Oh, Daryl, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone in chat. Hello, Dodie. Nice to see you. Hello, Adi. Was it seasonal like for summer and winter? Absolutely. Hello, K-Hink. Hello, Ozzy. It was seasonal. And in the summer, you didn't want to be in Washington, D.C. It was hot. It still gets hot here, but also much of Washington, D.C. around the Potomac was different geographically than it is today. It truly was a swamp. 100%. Very low lying with the tide. Oops. With the tide influencing, coming up many streets in Washington, D.C. And so over the years, when the capital was developed, that was filled in. It's no longer swampy, literally. It's only swampy figuratively, let's put it that way. Great question. This is the Embassy of Morocco. This one recently underwent some renovation. So this looks a little different from the last time that I took a look at this embassy. This one looks fantastic in the evening when the evening sun is shining this way. But this building has undergone extensive renovation. Really nice paint job too. That's the Embassy of Morocco here on the corner of Q and 21st Street. A lot of people out this time of day. It's beautiful. Now this here is the Phillips Collection. This is an art gallery that takes up about 1/4 of this block on the northwest corner of 21st and Q Street. All kinds of art there, sculpture, paintings, all kinds of cool stuff here at the Phillips Collection. And another look at that Embassy of Morocco. Good morning, Leroy. This is Washington, D.C. Hi, Jonathan. Nice to see you. This will be a good one today. We've got beautiful blue skies. We've got the birds chirping in the background. And we've got Q Street today. And this is what I like, the variety of townhomes. These are not cookie cutter row houses. Every one is distinctive architecturally. From this one that has a real federal style influence to it. Now this doesn't go back to the early 1800s or late 1700s. It was built later, but it was built later in the federal style. All the way to this grand 5-story townhouse here. I do like black on beige. I do like that. Good morning, Daphne. What does DC stand for? District of Columbia. Hello, Kaylin. Kaylin Ryan? Keelan? Jonathan is from Brooklyn. Great to meet you, Jonathan. Daphne, I hope you have a fantastic day ahead of you. Leroy is in New York City. I hope you're having a great day there too. Is Trump in the White House? I don't know. I don't know where he is today. You know, when you're in the UK, when you're in London, you know where the monarch is because that's when they raise the standard, the royal flag. They don't do that here. The flags are always flying here. Hello, Colin. Cosmo from Glasgow, Scotland. Driver, nice to see you. So the full name is Washington District of Columbia. Yeah. Oh, Philly. Hey, I've been to the White House a few times, but we will go back soon because it's probably, it was right around Christmas that I was there the last time. And I love to visit the White House. Absolutely love it. Good morning, Robert. Getting ready to see Hail Mary. Yes. Oh, sorry to hear about your fall. Hi, Chris Jensen. Yeah, so today on Film Club starts an hour. Is it 2 hours? Oh, depends on where you are in the world. Okay, so I understand we moved our clocks forward, 2 weeks ago now in the United States? I know the UK still hasn't done that. So Film Club today is on Stasis Geeks channel. It begins at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So I highly encourage everyone, go to Stasis Geeks channel. Just Google Stasis Geek Film Club and you'll see the notification for today. We are reviewing Project Hail Mary and it will be spoilery. So if you haven't seen the film, we'll give you a warning when we start with spoilers because we've all seen the film and I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm so looking forward to talking about it. I read the book. Love the book, so you'll find out whether the film lives up to the book. Hello, Japan. Very nice to see you today. Check this one out. I do like this one. I like the fan windows. I really like that olivey color with the red brick. I think beige on black or black on beige and green on brick I really like. This one as well. These homes on Q Street have a small amount of real estate for a garden in front. And most of the folks here have taken advantage of that. And they have nice little gardens in front. This one has an urn in front. I like that. I really like that. Now this one here. This one with such a neoclassical influence. And it's beautiful cherry blossom decorations. Appropriate for this time of year. Get rid of this tree here, is right in my face. Check this one out. Absolutely beautiful. And again, just illustrating the variety of styles on many of these residential streets, particularly here on Q Street. Hello, Ioannis from Austria. Wonderful to meet you. One of my favorite restaurants here in Washington is in Georgetown. It's Leopold's Austrian Cafe. And you had a beautiful meal and then you end with your soccer tort. Oh, I absolutely love that restaurant. Now, earlier someone asked me about the name of Washington, D.C. So the founders decided on this area for our capital and established it officially in 1790. At that time, it was 2/3 carved out of the state of Maryland and about 1/3 carved out of Northern Virginia in what is Alexandria. Over the years, Alexandria decided, you know what, it makes no sense. We've got this big river, this Potomac River in between. We really don't want to be part of the nation's capital. We want to be part of Virginia. It had nothing to do with the Civil War. It predated the Civil War by more than 20 years. It was called the retrocession. And so what was left of Washington, D.C. was the city of Georgetown, which was carved out of Maryland, and the rest of what was carved out of Maryland that became Washington, D.C. And Washington, of course, named after the father of our country. Next door, next to this beautiful cherry blossomy classical style here, is a stucco, a rather stark stucco. And I still like it. I think the variety lends to the beauty in this area. Hello, Minato. Nice to see you. Hello, Mohammed. And I do apologize. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone in chat. It's a lively chat today, and I love that. It is European architecture. 100%. 100%. The architecture in this area has many European influences when you think about the classical Roman and Greek features. Quite a bit of French influence, the Second Empire influence that really took hold during our Gilded Age. And then there's also a smattering of Spanish mission influence with stucco, terracotta roofs. And then if you look a little deeper and you look beyond just the structure and the architecture of the home, and you see how the gardens are laid out and the driveways, you see such a combination of all of those styles that really makes this area distinctive. Now, what I always say is if you're visiting Washington, D.C., make sure you make time to visit all the big attractions, of course, but there's always time to take a walk off the beaten path and check out the neighborhoods. All right, here we go. It's a metro station. This is the Dupont Circle Metro. And from here, this looks quite interesting. This is one of the more interesting of the DC metros. Washington's metro system was built in the 1970s. It is by far one of the youngest metro systems in the world. And so its architecture is not old, and it's rather boring. This is one of the more interesting ones. It has this really large canopy over it. Most of our metro stations are just elevators going down, escalators going down under buildings that already existed before the metro was built. Other cities like London, Paris, they had their metro systems built into the fabric of the city, and they have beautiful stations, purpose-built for their undergrounds, their metros. But in DC, the buildings were already built many, many years before. So the metro had to fit in around it. Here at Dupont Circle, there was an opportunity to create this big station. But this is what a DC metro looks like. Inside the station, and I wish I could, I'll have to do a recorded video, an edited video from inside, because obviously I lose the signal. But the architecture is very brutalist inside the stations. I can't even get a peek down on this one. Inside the stations, the architecture is very brutalist. For what it is and how it was built, it is interesting. So I don't want to say it's not interesting. It's just not old and beautiful like if you visit the stations in London. Hey, Johnny! Johnny, great to see you. looks like Dublin. Yeah, so, you know, when you talk about like residential areas that are close to the business areas of cities, DC does have that smaller city feel in some of these neighborhoods because of the, you know, it was a planned capital city. It did not grow organically. What that did was it helped create kind of an intense business district, and then the little neighborhoods popped up around it organically. So you have these very distinct neighborhoods that in and of themselves are as big as some small towns other places in the world, if that makes sense. Like they each have their own character. We're in Dupont Circle now, that has its own character for sure. Kalorama is close by, but then you get into kind of, you know, like Northeast is completely different. Those homes are more row house than townhouse, but there is so much variety here. I'm just pausing here on this building, which is part of the Embassy of Colombia. There's an office building just down the way that I will say is rather a boring modern building, but part of the Embassy of Colombia is housed here in this beautiful mansion. What country is this? This is Washington, D.C. We are in the Dupont Circle area, and today's adventure is to walk Q Street from end to end, from Rock Creek to 11th Street where it ends. And that is one half of the entirety of Q Street. Just because. Hello, Drew. Nice to see you. Hello, Old Skies. Glad to have you today. Now, this is Dupont Circle, and on a Sunday morning, if this were tomorrow, this would be Farmers Market Central. And for some reason, when I tried, the 2 times I've tried to broadcast from Farmers Market, I've lost a stream. Now here I think the signal's pretty good, but Farmers Market is a blast. It's an absolute blast. We're looking north on Connecticut Avenue. This is Connecticut and Q Street. The letters run east to west. The numbers run north to south, and then diagonal streets, those are the states. They connect the big traffic circles that pop up around the city. And Dupont Circle is one of those, one of the biggest, if not the biggest. Maybe Pennsylvania, I don't know. I think Dupont Circle is one of the biggest. But we're looking north on Connecticut Avenue. This would be a great walk. Just walking all the way north on Connecticut Avenue. If we continued up, about 1.5 miles, we'd be at the National Zoo. But here on Connecticut Avenue, you see a mix of larger buildings back in the day. This was part of the commercial hub from the mid-1800s. This was an important artery from Maryland into Washington, D.C. So if we continued up Connecticut Avenue past the National Zoo, we would be in Chevy Chase, Maryland, and then Bethesda, Maryland. Big traffic cones, Daryl. Big cones here. Hello, 38 Maddie. Best thing at the farmer's market, pickles. Pickles. Hey, Wild West Nomad. Great to see you. Actually, everything. Okay, the empanadas are good too. But you go to the farmer's market with your big bags and a big appetite. I always grab an empanada, walk around with that. There's fresh cheese. There's an olives lady. I grabbed some olives, pickles. There's a company that does fresh pasta and sauce. And so last week I grabbed bread from the baker, pasta, sauce, olives, and that was my dinner and appetizers for Sunday night dinner. Oh, Johnny, thank you so much. Yeah, as you can tell, it's just so interesting to me. History is my thing. And I didn't study architecture, but over many, many years of visiting historic places, I really started to notice the buildings that were preserved and how important that is to preserving our histories. Like, you know, I do genealogy, but you can also do the genealogy of a place or a building, called a one-place study. And that is the genealogy, essentially, of a place, a block, one building, one small town, one little shopping street. This is 19th Street. Hello, Kinwin. Daryl, I'm glad we're giving you a nice variety of traffic construction type equipment here today. Now this one, I always wanted to know what this was. This is, I think, part of a hotel. It's not old, but it definitely has an Art Deco feel. And I do appreciate the pavers here at this little cafe. I do like that. I have to check this one out someday. This is 19th Street. And you see these little, so if you look at the street sign here in the middle of the shot, and you see it says Q Street, 19th Street, and also Diego de Ambrosio Way. Just above that, you see a circle that says Dupont Circle. Some of the historic neighborhoods have those little circles to designate the neighborhood. There's one in Logan Circle too. Maybe it's all the circles. This one here, I mean, that's a good late 1800s example. Probably a business. Let's continue down Q Street. We've got a long way to go. Oh my gosh, we've been streaming for over 40 minutes and we're not even halfway there yet. We've got a long walk today. Originally, I thought we could do all of Q Street, which is about 4 miles. That's not gonna work today. I could do it. I don't know if my battery on my phone would do it. I think the longest live stream was about 2 hours not too long ago. This building here, part of the Embassy of Argentina, which we'll get a great view of just across the street, the main building. This is just part of the embassy. Looks a little rundown, just saying. Still has the flag. This building here is the Whitmore House with some sculpture in this garden. From across the street, we'll get the look back. Dancers. I wish they would name the sculptures. This is the Kavanaugh Sculpture Garden. John Kavanaugh, 1921 to 1985. A nationally admired sculptor, had his studio nearby at 1818 18th Street. 1818 18th Street. Pretty cool. So these are made by Mr. John Kavanaugh. Hi, Matt. Matt, I'm in Washington, D.C. We are in, we're on Q Street. We're doing all of Q Street from Rock Creek, walking west until Q Street ends. And it will end at 11th Street. Let me go across the street because we're shooting into the sun. It's that time. Let me go across the street and then we'll take a really good look at some of the buildings we passed. But just before we do, this is New Hampshire Avenue, and we have done a walk from Dupont Circle all the way up New Hampshire Avenue and all the way back down. And we've looked at these embassies. So just quickly, the Embassy of Botswana here on the corner, a few private members clubs down there. One of my favorite beige on black buildings down there. I did a whole video on that building. I know, I feel like I'm teasing, telling you about buildings we're not going to look at, but this is one we want to get a look at in the sun. Check that out. This is the Embassy of Argentina, and it has such a prominent place here on the corner of Q Street and New Hampshire Avenue, but it also gets prominent sunlight early in the day, and it just looks magnificent on that beige stone. I don't know what that is. Is that sandstone brick? I don't know. But it just looks magnificent with that mansard roof. Those decorative urns up there on the roof line. It does look like a hotel, and maybe, I don't think it was. I think it was a mansion back in the day. Hello, nothing to do. Nice to see you. Hello, Banal Dread. Very nice to see you. Hello, Mike. This is the first day of spring. Primavera feliz. Yes, it is, and it feels like it. Today, it feels like it. Daphne says when she was a little girl, she'd buy cheese from a cheese factor in Stockton, Missouri. I remember a sign saying, best cheese by a damn sight. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hello there, 80s baby. Nice to see you. Yeah. It's good to get this, you know, it's all about the lighting. I think the reason why the video last week just looks so good, if I do say so myself, is we had such beautiful blue skies last week. Let's take a look back at that Whitmore house on the corner. It's not, this is not a, let me guess, 1910s maybe, 1920s for this one. It's not super old. Has a tiny bit of that arts and crafts look to it, especially around the windows. But this one is a showstopper. And when you're driving, you know, this is a main artery. This is north of Dupont Circle. And especially earlier in the day, you know, you have to slow down and really appreciate this beautiful building on the corner. Let's continue on Q Street. Oh my gosh, we've been going over 45 minutes. We've got a long way to go. That's a good thing. Good morning, Aldo. Nice to see you. Now, last week, when we had our adventure on U Street, so today we're on Q, so RSTU, we were 4 blocks up. We began last week just up here, 4 blocks up this way. So we're not too far from where we were last week, and the architecture just looks slightly different, but still a lot of variety. Hello, Carlos. It's a standard building in a country of boxes. Well, that's where we do have small towns, villages, as well as our historic cities that do hopefully preserve some of that historic architecture. When you get into the outskirts of the central business district or different pockets within cities, then you see those row houses. Those cookie cutter, one after another, they all look the same. But here, these are townhouses, and they're quite distinct. With little pockets. We're going to see a little pocket of row houses up here on this block. Am I able to zoom in? I'm going to cross over when I can and try to get a little closer. Zooming is always a nightmare on this stream. If I had my real camera, I could do that much more easily. But with my phone, I can't. But when we come back down the street, we'll get closer. So thank you for asking. Hello, Selal Kelly. Kaleli. I'm so sorry with these names. Hi, Mandy. So that's definitely a brownstone. Now, there are other buildings that look brown that often get mistaken for brownstones. That's a brownstone. But as I mentioned, then here we go. Now, townhouse, row houses. We've got a few row houses here. Although there are only a few that are identical. A little less character across the way with these homes. So I have to imagine that there was probably some other structure here that was demolished in order to make room for these homes at some point, probably in the 1940s, 1930s, 1940s. And right across the way here, we have these homes with a porch, with a distinctive front yard and a porch. This is starting to look very New Yorky. Definitely not vinyl siding. Oh, Amber, you are so right. The beautiful brick and stone. Now this one looks absolutely beautiful for spring with that birdie sculpture in the front yard. It's a bird, and I think it's a bunny. There's a bird and a bunny in the front yard. And daffodils. Now this stone has a green patina. Look at that bird up there. Look at that bird up there, the real bird. Up on that branch. This stone has a green patina to it. Your eyes are not deceiving you. The next two or three. But they're still distinctive. With the roof tiles on this one being that slate color, and then right next door the roof tiles are terracotta. And then next door to it, a completely different top story. Get out of the street here. Ooh, it is the cyclists that will run me down someday. It won't be cars. It'll definitely be the cyclists, whether it's here or in London. I'm in London once in a while, and it's always the cyclists. I'm so glad it's officially spring. Jonas, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again sometime. I'm usually out on the weekends as long as it's sunny. Sunny days, and I'm out here. Now, it's typical that the architecture on one side of the street is very different from the architecture on the other side of the street. I don't know if that was planned, but that's what seems to happen here in Washington, D.C. Guess what we have? We have a call box. Last week we encountered call box 253, and this is 255. So this is an old fire or police call box. In the Dupont Circle area, they were painted this tealy green. In some places in DC, there's artwork installed where the works would be. In some places, there's historic information like right here. Now this one has seen its better days, but I'm glad we found it. There are some maps. Oh, here's a map on the back of the Dupont Circle ones. So there are call box projects in Golden Triangle, Kalorama, down around the National Mall, and a few other places around Washington, D.C. But they're all different projects. So I haven't yet found one map of all of them. So maybe that's something I will do someday in all my free time, is create a map of all the call boxes. I love the sculpture in your front garden, by the way. That's beautiful. That's not yours. I do like that, though. It's really nice. This street has so many old trees, hence all the birds and the gardens. Yeah, my favorite call box is up by the Spanish Steps in DC, not the ones in Rome. And it's the sculpture of the old-time fire truck inside the call box. And it's amazing. Now, some of these call boxes recently, I've been noticing that the artwork is missing. which is a little concerning. Hopefully that one stays okay. I also have I have compared some photos over time where I can see there have been some changes. So for example, there's one that has a small sculpture of a police officer putting a call in. That's up by the French ambassador's house. And my oldest picture of that one, it actually had a painting behind the sculpture, and now there's no painting behind the sculpture. So anyway, just trying to find them all and appreciate them all. I wonder what life was really like in the old world. Oh my gosh, Amber, you know, it's that age-old question. If you had one shot to travel through time, would you go forward or backward? And I know where I would go. I would go backward. I know most scientists would say they want to go forward, but I want to go backward. But it's fun to try to put the puzzle together from the clues that we have today. So for genealogists, one of the things I try to do when I'm talking to people and helping people with their genealogy is to help them tell the full story. So many people concentrate on all the facts, right? Names and places and dates and where was somebody born and when did someone get married. That's all cool and fine. But when you do your family research, you don't want to end up with just a checklist. You want to end up with a story. And so to tell the full story, we need to know, well, where did they work? And where did they live? And how did they live? And what hobbies did they have? What was the music like when they lived? What films were out there when they lived? All of those fun things help us tell a more interesting story. Oh my gosh, Ben, thank you so much. Thank you for your membership and really for all of your support every single day. I appreciate your friendship. And Johnny, thank you for your membership and your friendship. Oh my gosh. You guys have been so supportive. Hello, Rose Angel in London. Awesome to see you. AM from DC, so you're right there by 14th Street. Yeah, I'm actually 3 blocks away. I'm 68 years old. I'm living in Winston-Salem now. Have a good day. Yes, so slavery in DC, lots of history around that. And last week we were on historic U Street, which is such an important part of African American history and culture in Washington, D.C. We've also walked through Georgetown, and we've looked at a beautiful building called the Alfred Lee Grain and Feed Store that was operated by Alfred Lee, who was a free black man during the Civil War. And there's just so much history there. Georgetown being a really pivotal place during the Civil War, and DC being an absolute hotbed smushed in between the North and the South. You know, when the capital of your nation is smushed between those two ideologies, there's bound to be a ton of history here. I'm so sorry, everybody. Liberty, hi, nice to meet you. Amber loves the buildings. I appreciate that. Hey, Daniel Phillips, nice to meet you. Which place is this? We're on Q and 17th Street. We're heading we're doing all of Q Street. We started at Rock Creek and we're working our way. Wow, I'm just trying to catch up on all these chats. Johnny, oh my gosh, you sent a membership. You are too kind. Nancy Bellar received a membership. Johnny, that is just so kind of you. And Liberty grew up in Adams Morgan on Columbia Road. Oh my gosh, I think I'm caught up on chats. You guys are so amazing. And I do these walks. I've been doing these walks my entire life. right? I've lived and worked in and around Washington, D.C. for my entire life. And I walk and I take pictures and I make little edited videos. But about a year and 2 months ago, I went live, and it was my very first live stream, and so many people joined my live stream. I'm just loving this building, by the way, catching the light. So many people joined the live stream, and so I kept doing it, and I still do it, and I really appreciate every single person. Hi, N49 Martin from Ireland. Todd Wilkins, nice to see you. Lone Buffalo, what's the rainbows? Rainbows on the crosswalks in this area and heading toward 14th Street. This area of Washington, D.C. and all around Dupont Circle has a thriving LGBTQ plus community here in Washington, D.C. My gosh, thank you so much. London is beautiful. Buildings built in that generation and their looks speak about how the humans required human buildings, not the blank slates. I know slasherations. Yeah, when you look at your home or your place of business as a statement, and maybe even leaning into a work of art, something that should last through time, then you take more care, you know? And sometimes it's utilitarian, right? I would love, as much as I love architecture, right? I would love a beautiful cottage to live in and create and build, but I have to live close by here to where I work. And I can't afford any of these stately, beautiful homes, unfortunately. So I'm in like a really ugly home. It's plain. I try to make it nice inside. But you're right. I mean, if we took the time to think about what would last and take the care to preserve it, that's what I'm all about. This is the Cairo, built as an apartment building. This does date back to the 1800s. And this is pretty magnificent. Look at the intricate carving work. There is a sort of an Eastern influence to the decor there. I like this one. I really do like this one. Right here in this residential area, right? We just passed townhomes. And now we're at this huge apartment building. Shriners. That makes sense. That sort of does make sense. When we come back, we'll come back on that side and we'll read the sign. And then right across the street, just a small 3-story. There's a lot to see here. So for those who just joined, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, we have so many people in chat today. I apologize if I'm not reading everyone's chat. Another thing I have to do is constantly look down so I don't trip. If you didn't grow up or visit Washington, D.C. frequently and you decide to do that, definitely get out to the neighborhoods. Parking is not a problem. I'm telling you, just read the signs. Here's a parking spot right here. Just read the signs. Don't park where you're not allowed. But what is a problem are the tree roots under the sidewalk that make for a bumpy walk or a hard fall if you're not paying attention. Now, I mentioned in previous, I'll get on the other side. I'm shooting into the sun constantly this morning. I've mentioned on prior walks the DC Elephant Safari. There are elephants all over the city. And this is one of them here at the corner of 16th and Q Street. Woo! loud. Here at the corner of 16th and Q Street is one of those elephants. I'm still wondering where the one that used to be in front of the Embassy of Sri Lanka, I'm wondering where that went. Before I cross over, just a quick look here at 16th Street and these beautiful townhomes on this corner. And back here at the Jewish Community Center. Squirrel. Oh my God, I hate squirrels. All around this area. Now we've moved from the Dupont Circle area to the Logan Circle area. All around Washington, D.C. You'll get the local history and maps. You know, it's great to plan, but don't plan too much. Plan to wander. I do want to look back just for a moment at this Art Deco beauty here on 16th Street. Now, 16th Street is wider than the other streets we've crossed. It is a major artery, and it ends all the way at the White House. Let's see if I can do this safely. If you are to look all the way past the statue of Winfield Scott, you may be able to barely see the White House. White House is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and so 16th Street ends at the White House. If you were to walk, and we've done 2 different walks on 16th Street. If you were to walk north, you'd pass all of the historic hotels, the Hay Adams, and some of those other majestic old hotels. And this bus is so rude. And then a little farther north, you'd hit the Embassy of Australia, that beautiful building. And I've done a one-place study. My very first published one-place study was on the Embassy of Australia. So check that out in my videos section of my channel. As you continue to walk north, you'll find a number of apartment buildings, larger commercial buildings, built from the late 1800s through today. And here you'll find quite a bit of an Art Deco influence in a couple of areas. And here's one right here. This beautiful Art Deco beauty. I know that bus just, sorry about that. Check out the overall design. Check the doorway with those glass blocks, that aluminum artwork, and those beautiful doors with the half moon. All characteristic Art Deco features. Back to Q Street. We're heading east on Q Street until it ends. What kind of phone am I? Oh my gosh, Wild West, you are too kind. Thank you so much for that. Guys, you all are so supportive. I am sincerely flattered. Wild West Nomad, what kind of phone? I'm streaming with, okay, you won't believe it if I tell you. You absolutely won't believe when I tell you I'm streaming with an iPhone 13. Not a 17, not an 18, not a 17 Pro, not a whatever. This is an iPhone 13. Now, it's why the quality of some of my streams isn't as great as I'd like. But for the most part, it's okay. It's okay. When I get my next phone, hopefully it'll improve a little bit. Actually, I'm not using a lapel mic at all. The thing that amazes me is that the audio from this phone is better than my headset mic when I'm live streaming from my desk. You know, my expensive headset. So yeah, thank you for asking. And Wild West Nomad, you're wonderful. I do appreciate it. I know, Johnny, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to be as technologically savvy as you are. Now, these rather modest homes in the federal style are some of the oldest of the homes that we've looked at. These were built in 1876. I found these specifically because these homes are 150 years old this year. So America is celebrating America 250. These homes are 150 years ago, 1876, built 100 years after the Revolution. These were built later in the 1890s. Gas lamps. We've got gas lamps. Hey, Cranky Mullet, we're in Washington, D.C. Specifically, we are on Q Street, and we're walking all of Q Street. All of Q Street. And these two here, in the same style as the ones we highlighted just a minute ago, also built in 1876. I used DC History Quest. You can just type in Google DC History Quest for the maps that have the specific information about every property in Washington, D.C. And the map is color-coded. In fact, the thumbnail for this video, I know that looked kind of weird, that thumbnail is the DC History Quest map. And so the buildings that are like yellow, they're relatively new. The buildings that are like a brick red, they're older. They're like late 1800s. And the buildings that are dark purple, those are mid to early 1800s. So it's easy to check out that map and to hone in on the dark purple and dark red to find the oldest homes on the walk. This one on the corner, it has a boarding house feel to me. You know, the ones that are a little more narrow and tall always feel like a boarding house. Maybe not, but that's kind of the vibe I get. Crossing 15th Street. And we'll take a look back at this beautiful block. This one has such a mix. 1800s, 1900s, and definitely some restoration done in the 2000s on this block. This is the northwest corner of Q Street and 15th Street. Yes, no politics here, thank you. Whoops, sorry. Yikes. Sorry, just trying to scroll through messages here. And sometimes I stutter the stream. No politics, just history here. Daniel, it is clean. It's cleaner than it has been in about 4 years. These neighborhoods, people do take care of their properties here. Here's another one, black on beige. I just think that is so elegant. Look at that beautiful style. And the one next to it too, in a very similar but not identical. This is what I think is interesting. Even when it's the same general style, you don't have identical row houses. More of a townhome feel. Yeah, the kissing mural was cute. Yeah, again, I always say look down, look up. You look down, there's art in the street. There are beautiful gardens. I hear a beautiful garden. Okay, someone's a basketball fan. Okay, someone's a basketball fan. Awesome. And there's a fountain. How nice to have a fountain with basketballs. Okay. Way to be. This area of DC is so different from like Philly and Baltimore because there's no There's really no room in Philly and Baltimore for gardens. I know where I grew up, on the street I grew up, there were 2 homes that were set back, and they had front yards instead of backyards, and they did have a garden. I wonder if those houses are still there. But here it's more the norm in this area of Washington to have a front garden. And they're quite beautiful. The amount of green space, trees, helps to knock down the sound, the noise level. The streets are generally wide. The building heights are low. There is a building height restriction here in Washington. And all of that combined to make the city kind of quiet. I like these 2. Check that out. Oh, if that car wasn't there, this would be such a good picture. I really like these 2. Very stately, and they have that beautiful wrought iron steps in the front. And then next door, completely different with a lot more yard. Check that out. Now this building was probably 1, split into a duplex later split into a duplex, and this one as well. Love that. I know, right? Stupid cars. Always in my way. No, I take the cars over the cyclists any day. Well, okay, the cyclists because you can't hear them and they don't care. The cars, the electric cars, they do sneak up on you. Even the ones that do generate a little bit of sound, that little rumble, those electric cars definitely creep up on me. Hey, Cranky, I'm sure you're a polite cyclist, Cranky. I'm sure you are. I've been on the C&O Canal Trail where just an entire peloton tries to wipe out the walkers. And they go 3 across instead of single file. And the signs everywhere on that trail say, please yield to pedestrians. Pedestrians have the right of way. Nope. Check this out. This has definitely undergone some reno. Oh, but first, there's a fountain in this beautiful garden. Squirrel. That looks lovely. That's quite different, but these have definitely been freshly painted for sure. With the sign, Hilltop Builders. Yeah, they still have the builder's sign here, so there's still some work being done inside. But again, was this one building made into a duplex, or was it 2 different? I think this was 2 distinct buildings, but each side a little bit different. This one has the black window frames. This one has the white window frames. Different stairs, different front stoops. I like these. Yeah, me too. Wild West, when you get out of the pure historic districts, they all look so drab. And unfortunately, it's utilitarian. It's what can folks afford? What can you pay to build? What can you pay to keep up? But that's why we like to preserve the old. And part of the way to preserve the old is to film it and talk about it and make people aware that they exist. And then maybe they appreciate it. This building looks like an old schoolhouse. Not sure what this was. There's one in Georgetown that looks just like this. I'm gonna guess an old schoolhouse here. Okay, I can't lift the camera up like that. It goes haywire when I do that. We are back on 14th Street. Last week we were 4 blocks up on U Street, way up there. And today we're down here on Q Street. This is the commercial district. And this is another one of those double wide streets planned that way. So in Washington, D.C., because it was a planned city, because it had been a swamp, and because there were very, very few people living here in the 1790s, when the city was created and construction began, they could plan for growth. And amazingly, Pierre L'Enfant, Benjamin Banneker, and then later through the Macmillan Plan, these wide grand boulevards were planned. And they are wide grand boulevards. And they were planned with future traffic and expansion in mind. And that way, future expansion didn't have to encroach on existing communities. So there's that. Hi, food junkie. Nice to meet you, food junkie. We're doing a walk in Washington, D.C. Daryl, I am impressed. So many people are watching the stream. You know, I get more viewers on a sunny day. The sunnier the day, the more people, maybe this is suggested in their feed. If it's a sunny day, they stay. So I'm all happy for a sunny day. Denver didn't plan for expansion. No, and most organic cities did not. Most organic cities that have those teeny tiny little alleyways, like Philadelphia, like Baltimore, London with its streets going all over the place. London had the chance after the Great Fire to create a grid system, and they decided, now we're good with our crookedy crazy streets. And I'm glad they kept the crookedy crazy streets. This is another row of some of the oldest homes on Q Street, dating back to the mid to late 1800s. Oh, it's still dark. I'm sorry, Daryl. Thank you for joining me so early. Check out this staircase. Now, this is not one of those old ones. It's a newer design, certainly made to honor the more traditional wrought iron staircases in Washington, D.C. This is also something you don't see in Baltimore. At least I don't see this in Baltimore or Philadelphia. This is a D.C. thing. These beautiful staircases. I think it's also more popular in the South. Hi, Gollum. Nice to see you. But just look at the work, the workmanship here. This was not made in a factory. This was made by hand. And it's quite beautiful. Really gorgeous. Signs of spring. Well, it's still pansies. Pansies survive anything. But we do have signs of spring in Washington, D.C. Ooh. And sun just at the wrong angle sometimes. Sorry about that. All right, let's pan over this way. The sun peeping over the buildings. Now, I mentioned we were going to come across row houses. Here we are. Here we are. Just east of 14th Street on Q Street. A row of row houses. Identical structure, but a variation in the paint schemes. So still something beautiful to look at here. I'm surprised there isn't more exposed brick. Oh, there's some at the end. More exposed brick in the middle of these rows of row houses. There's some at the end. And then across the way, on this side, as I mentioned, very rarely, if never, are the styles the same on both sides of the street. Hello, Uncle Ray. Hello, St. Chucky. Hello, Margot. Nice to see you. Now look at this roughed up brick. I do like that. Right next to the perfectly pointed brick. Very nice. And another one of those wrought iron staircases, and now you see them everywhere here in this area, on this street. There's some gas lamps that still exist. Love, love, love the gas lamps. I like walking these streets at night. I can't stream at night. I tried that in Georgetown, and it makes for a very poor stream because of the lack of light. Yeah, there's a grunginess, right, to that roughed up brick. Looks lived in. Definitely looks lived in. Now we're coming up, we're gonna cross the street soon, and I'm sorry, we might be shooting into the sun because there's a particular view that we have to catch of the Watermelon House. Now earlier this week, I posted a picture of the watermelon elephant, which it's not here. The Watermelon House is completely different from the watermelon elephant. But I just want to take a quick look. This is Logan Circle. Oh, that's crooked. This is Logan Circle. And I did a walk last 4th of July. I did a walk around Logan Circle on a beautiful, looks like there's some renovation going on there, on a beautiful, beautiful 4th of July. And then I went back and I took video. I really, really hope that my edited video will be published this week, because if we go all the way to 4th of July this year without me publishing that video, I'll be really mad. Just pat myself on the back. I've never taken such good photos of homes as I did on that 4th of July day. It was all down to the sun, not to me. It was such a good day. Everything looked magnificent. From Logan Circle, which is 13th Street, Rhode Island Avenue, Vermont Avenue, those convergences, you can walk around some of the other side streets like Corcoran Street and see some absolutely beautiful buildings that are kind of distinctive. I think Corcoran Street is most distinctive. They have sweeping front staircases in front of relatively small townhomes. I hear a marching band. Not sure what's going on. Maybe it's practice for one of the high schools. But I hear a marching band in the distance. All right, we're coming up to the end of Q Street, and then we're gonna turn around and go the other way. We have walked from Rock Creek all the way east to the end of Q Street, at least this part of the end of Q Street. There's more of Q Street, but this is a big chunk of Q Street, and I'm sorry I'm shooting into the sun. But we'll make sure we get a good angle on these little tiny teeny townhomes coming up on the last block of Q Street. And the Watermelon House. I don't know if you can see it. Try to get the sun blocked here. The Watermelon House. And this beautiful little row of 4 row homes in these beautiful tropical colors with the sun bearing down in the shot. If I can get really close. This always makes, I think people who walk down the street and aren't prepared always slow down. There we go. Now the sun's out of our faces. Always slow down to appreciate the Watermelon Building. Hello, Ander. Not ancient houses. Yes. Correct. Am I an architect or an historian? I'm an historian who is not an architect. I have not studied architecture, so I don't put myself out there. I've studied battlefield geography and history in and around Washington, D.C., Baltimore, immigration history, those sorts of things. Not an architect. I didn't study architecture. I've just learned it as I've gone, because I think you can tell the story of a city through its people, through its architecture. The Watermelon House. How cool is that? Now, we've done Q Street. On that side of the street, let's do the other side of the street. What is this membership? So membership is just a way for people to be incredibly kind to me. On Mondays, I post a little short that is members only. I post a few channel updates that are members only, but I'm woefully bad at providing specific member content. So I really, really do appreciate those who do join a membership to show your support. But I just appreciate everyone watching, commenting in the chat, hitting that like button. If you like these kind of walks, please subscribe. If you don't, I understand completely. I'm very fortunate to have done this and lived here, had the opportunity to enjoy my passions. And it truly is a passion. I'm not a real YouTuber. I've done these walks my entire life just by myself, with my camera, with my friends, doing tours for people who come to the area, doing tours for historic associations and those sorts of things, publishing, doing articles, doing scholarly research. And one day I decided to turn the camera on live, and folks joined me. It's all fun for me. And I just appreciate everyone chiming in. And I apologize for those in chat if I can't get to your message. I so apologize. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. So please forgive if I miss a message, especially when everybody's being so chatty. I appreciate that. Now we'll get a little closer view on some of the ones we saw that might have some historic information about them. On this side, whoa, there's a hole. Okay, need to look down. Good reminder to look down. Oh, Cranky, you are too kind. You are just too kind. You're not cranky, you're kind. Wild West, yeah, and you know what? We've got really good people here. Some of us have known each other for quite a while. Daphne is a very good friend. Daryl, so Daphne I found through some other friends of mine, channels that I visit, as well as people I know in real life. And then Daryl found my channel, and now Daryl knows my other friends, like Stasis Geek and Jay from Nerd Takes. So another part of my history passion is, like I said, telling the full story of our ancestors and our history. And part of that is, film, books, entertainment. And so I join James from Stasis Geek and Jay from Nerd Takes for Film Club. Everyone is invited to Film Club. Film Club meets every Saturday. Our times have been a little different recently because of the time change. We have people from around the world who join us. Today, our film is Project Hail Mary. We will get a little spoilery, but we'll give a warning before we go with spoilers. So yeah, so thanks for saying you like the channel. We're really good people here, and we associate with good people. Spring has sprung. How nice is that? So this street this block has a little front garden in front of the garden. Look at that. Some hyacinths among the pansies. And this is the one with the gas lamps. Nice. Nice. Hello, MH Media. Nice to see you. Now, Daphne, our friend Daphne here, has her own channel. Daphne is uber creative and crafty, and she's getting ready for Easter. So check out her channel for some chill crafting and some inspiration. Cranky, I think you should. There are so many channels that I watch to learn about other parts of the country, to help do some comparison between some of the areas here, other parts of the country, other geographies, other climates. Also gives me some ideas of places I want to visit. So Cranky, I think you should. My one piece of advice is, if you think you should, then you should. I was thinking about it for quite a while. And again, I'm not a real YouTuber. I'm not doing this as a career. I want to preserve the historic record of the areas where I live and work. And if someone can find this record someday, and maybe it'll help in their research, maybe 100 years ago, someone will learn that their ancestor lived at 1339 Q Street in Northwest Washington, D.C., and they want to know what it looked like. Well, I'm showing you right now. This is 1339 Q Street in Northwest Washington, D.C. And wouldn't it be nice for them to put that in their genealogical record, right? It definitely took some practice. So my first videos were part of a project tracing the Civil War journey of my great-great-great-grandfather. And over probably the next 10 years, I'm going to walk every single step that he walked during his 4 years serving in the war. I've already made over 200 journeys. I'm not kidding. I've only published 21 videos. And my first video was my 35mm camera, or I'm sorry, my digital camera. What am I saying? 35mm. My digital camera on the dashboard of my car. And it's horrendous. The video is terrible. But every video gets better. And I debated really hard as to whether to redo those old videos, but it really comes down to time. It took me 3 years to make 21 videos. It would take me 30 more to do the other 200. I'll be dead by then. Well, hopefully not, but you know. So, I had to make the decision, and a good one, to keep up all the bad videos and not redo them, because it helps me see how I've gotten better. So, tip number one, know where the signal's going to be bad, right? There are definitely places that I've learned where we're going to have a bad signal. I'm actually surprised today that we didn't lose the stream, because Dupont Circle is usually a bad signal. It is a blue sky, Martha. That's why I'm out here. Nice to see you. Tip number two I learned was just that. It's all about the lighting. The signal is number one, but lighting is number two. And filming on a blue sky day, like, sometimes, especially if I'm traveling, I have to take what I get, right? I can't cancel a trip to Richmond, Virginia if I'm already there and it's dreary. I'm gonna have to film when it's dreary, right? But conversely, if there is a blue sky, I'm out there. And that's why I'm out there today. So I take advantage of every blue sky day. I have a plan every day for blue sky filming. Number 3, I think it was Holocron Library Fox who kept saying, Sandy, get a gimbal. And I kept saying, I am not a real YouTuber. I don't need a big contraption. I don't want to look like one of those people. Well, I'm so glad I got a gimbal because number 1, it takes the strain off my shoulder. And number 2, it does make for a much better video. So he was right. He was definitely right. I was resisting it because I'm not a real YouTuber. Number 4, go live. Be brave and go live. And so I did. Now the problem with that is now I go live more often than I take photos and videos with my real camera. So today, after this walk that we're taking, this hour-and-a-half walk, I'm gonna do it again with my real camera. Let's see, number 5, don't sweat the small stuff. Disaster streams are gonna happen, and it's okay, right? The people who like your streams, who like the history, they'll appreciate what you're doing. And it's okay if things go a little haywire. In fact, sometimes it makes it kind of fun when things go a little haywire. Check out this garden with the stonework and the beautiful springy flowers coming up. And it's a pollinator habitat. Absolutely. I know, Daryl, it's crazy, right? When I got 100 subs, I flipped out. And when I got 500, I was in front of the White House. I remember the day we hit 500. And I remember the person it was. If I saw her name, I'd remember it. I think it's Louise. I think it's Louise. And she was definitely my 500th sub. And I was in front of the White House. And I did a face reveal. And then we went and had a drink at the Hamilton. And then halfway through the live stream, I saw a message. Hello, Aunt Sandy, is this you? It was my niece. My niece found me on a live stream. So yeah, it was Aunt Sandy. So anyway, not to go on and on and on, but Cranky, I hope I'm inspiring you to get out and do this. I think a lot of folks do live, but they do it for different reasons. And it's all about what's important to you. For me, hopefully I'm capturing a little bit of history. And someone 100 years from now can do their one place study and find a snip of my video. I go back in my videos and I try to put the sources for information. I'm a little bit behind. Try to put the sources of information for future researchers. So enough about me. Too much yapping. Let's talk about these buildings. Ha, I am a real tuber, Daryl, I know. You do learn from your disaster streams. Daphne's working on the clay bunnies. I can't wait to see them, Daphne. I love Easter. I love the colors. My part of my heritage, being Polish and Russian, Easter is a big thing, and there's a lot of art around Easter. Polish egg dyeing or egg decorating is a huge thing. Very intricately decorated eggs. I don't do it, but I appreciate it. Oh, Denise, I like that. Old Charmers. I'm going to use that, Denise. I do like that. Check out that one with this big van. Bloody heck. I know I say there's not a problem parking. There's not, but that also means there's cars. Check out that That balcony on that top floor there. How nice is that? I wouldn't quite call these painted ladies, but there are some blocks that have such a variety of colors in the painted brick. Hello, Alizo. Alizo Gomez. Hey, William. Oh, pierogies. Oh my gosh. Yes. Easter morning pierogies, kielbasa, punchkis. Gotta like a good punchki, krzyzkis. Yes, yes, and yes. It's all good. This is America. This is Washington, D.C. This is the more residential area on Q Street. We have done the entire length of Q Street from the Rock Creek all the way east until it dead ended at 11th Street. Now there's more to Q Street. I think in a future stream, we will definitely do Rock Creek West, which is Q Street through Georgetown. Now that is where we do lose the signal. There are pockets in Georgetown that are kind of tough. And for those just joining, there's that beautiful Art Deco masterpiece on 16th Street. And one of our elephants on our elephant safari on 16th and Q Street. Oh, sorry about that. Gotta watch the sidewalk here. You're in, I hope I say this correct, Qingdao, China? I really hope I said that correctly. Well, thank you for watching. Wow, we've had someone from Ireland, Austria, the UK, China, all throughout the United States. Haven't seen my Canadians here yet. You might be here. Check out the dogwood. Beautiful American dogwood. Traffic barrels, oh, they're everywhere. Daryl, they're everywhere. And today, so close to the National Mall today, we're not going near there. There's a big, I think it's a road race, a running race, marathon of some sort, 10K. I think it's the Cherry Blossom race. Yeah, lots of streets blocked off this. There was one day, oh my God, I kept going in a circle. I think the police, I love them to death, but I think they made a mistake because they rerouted me in a circle like 3 times, and they had to be rerouting everyone into this big circle. We're back to the Cairo. So we'll get a chance to get a really good look at some of this detail. So someone wanted detail. We're gonna get detail. Now there is a historic sign on this building. But it's way up there. So we'll just have to look this up. It's really hard now. We're kind of too close. But if you want the detail, oh, there we go. Okay, the Cairo, 1615 Q Street Northwest. This apartment house was built in 1894. It is the tallest privately owned building in Washington at 156 feet. Wow. And I believe it, but it's not like super tall. And I can't, let's see, if I tilt up, the camera's gonna go haywire. Yeah, the camera doesn't like that. Okay. We'll look at it from down here. So you might say, well, wait a minute, that's not very tall. But remember, Washington, D.C. has height restrictions. So 156 feet is really tall. It's probably the max for buildings in Washington, D.C. The official height restriction is not the Washington Monument. In fact, it's far shorter than the Washington Monument. It's kind of the old post office tower, but what it really is it's a ratio of the width of the street to the height of the building. So there it is. Tallest privately owned building in Washington, D.C., but not very tall at all. It is so nice of Japan to gift all of those cherry blossoms for the two. It is. And the cherry trees are magnificent. I recommend doing it once. If you get a beautiful day like today, cherry blossom day is, or going to see the cherry blossoms, it's tough. It's a sea of people. It's a tidal wave. You're stuck. There's a lot of people. So if you're a little bit agoraphobic, go very early in the morning or go late in the evening to check out the cherry blossoms. But they are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And we are blessed that we have such a great relationship with Japan. Japan's such a friend to us. Now, the original batch of cherry trees came over to the United States and they were diseased. We don't know how. We don't know if they were diseased when they left Japan or when they were transported. We don't know. But the original batch had to be destroyed. And so a replacement batch came over way, in the early 1900s. So they had to be replaced. Check that one out. And they are just amazing. So I'm one of those cranky old ladies that when I'm walking around the cherry blossoms, if I see kids plucking the blooms, I lose my mind. I do. I start yelling. Check this out. Is that a camellia? I don't know Isn't that beautiful little bird there? Not roses. Beautiful. Spring has sprung. Oops, sorry about that. Spring has sprung here in Washington, D.C. Oh my gosh, we've been going for like almost 2 hours. That's crazy. Hi, Kendage. Oh, it has to be about 60 degrees right now. It definitely feels better than it has. Even this week, like yesterday morning, it was 32 degrees. It's been a wild, late winter. I think we've turned the corner. Have I ever seen a Kwanzaa cherry tree there? No, I have not. Is it Boston? No. Hey, T-Bone, this is Washington, D.C. But you're right to think that it's Boston because the homes that I'm looking at right now were on Q Street in Northwest. These do look like some of the tall Boston townhomes. Absolutely. Good eye there. Oh, this is Washington, D.C. Birds are having a good morning. Snow, rain, sun in Philly. I know. I go to Philly frequently. And, we get those blizzards going. The late February blizzard this year was weird. And then snow just 2 weeks ago. It was wild. 92 in Texas. 92 in Texas. I don't think I'm ready for that for sure. Where's the White House? Well, 2 blocks down and straight down 16th Street. The Exorcist, the film scene, Prospect and Q. Okay, so one of my videos, I did visit the Exorcist steps from the bottom of the steps. So on M Street, I visited from the bottom. Georgetown is a great walk. It's a terrible streaming location. So we're gonna see if I can keep a signal when we do the other part of Q Street. If I can keep a signal through Georgetown, we'll do all the rest of Q Street another day. This is the back of the Embassy of Botswana. This is, we're gonna stay here. This is 18th Street. And this is one of those triangular blocks. And that's New Hampshire Avenue right there. We've got a beautiful yellow forsythia there. Beautiful. Oh, that guy got a medal. Okay, so there must have been, he's got a medal. So the race, good on him. Congrats, whatever that race was. Oh, big puddle. Beautiful forsythia. Oh, we're gonna be stuck here. Hey, nothing to do. You're welcome to be here, but we're not gonna make any political commentary, okay? Not today. So take a little time out. Embassies are embassies. The Botswana embassy is right there, and they're here. And the Argentina embassy is here, and they're here too. So we're not advocating to get anyone out. All right, let's see if we can do this safely. Safely, quickly. This is a close-up of that embassy of Argentina. Did I say Brazil? Argentina here. We got the better view when we were on the other side of the street. That more wide-angle view is much better. Georgetown cupcakes. Don't get me started. William, I don't mean to diss anybody or their business, but to wait in line for an hour or even to order online and pay so much money for little teeny tiny cupcakes. Are they good? Yes. But has there ever been a bad cupcake? I mean, can anyone really say that a cupcake is bad? There are a lot of good cupcakes. But Georgetown Cupcakes is just a few, like 3 minutes from that Austrian restaurant that I mentioned, Leopold's. So I would go to Leopold's. They also have a bakery over Georgetown Cupcakes. What's the time here? 9:55. We've been streaming for 2 hours. Holy moly. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But we're almost back to where we started. We'll make the full circuit. All humans like sweet stuff. Yes, we do. Cupcakes. It's the frosting, right? Who cares about the cupcake? It's all about the frosting. We did those nothing bundt cakes recently. They were very good. Okay, also very expensive. But I was impressed. We're back to Dupont Circle. We're about a block and a half from the actual circle here at the metro station on Connecticut Avenue. For those who just joined, this is what a DC metro station looks like. Nothing terribly interesting. I'm sorry, I sound like I'm always critical about the DC metro. But when you've been to London and Paris, the DC metro is a little bit disappointing. It was built in the 1970s. Has a brutalist influence. Very utilitarian. It's okay. Fairbanks, Alaska is negative 12 degrees. It's like being freeze-dried. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Daphne wants coconut cake for her birthday. Sounds great. Roby likes pineapple upside down cake or strawberry. My dad is a huge strawberry shortcake fan. Jeremy, how much is whatever there? Oil? Gas? If that's what you're asking for, holy moly. So here's the recommendation for gasoline is gas up in Maryland. Don't wait until you're in DC, and God forbid, don't go to Virginia for gas. You're gonna pay another $1 a gallon. I think $3.49. It's gone up. I think $3.49 is what I'm paying in Maryland. And yesterday in Virginia, it was $4.59. So big difference. Now, down this way, you'd be at Dupont Circle. Restaurants, shops, etc. This is part of the Embassy of Colombia here. The main administrative office, the consular section, I think, is down on Massachusetts Avenue. But this one is part of the Embassy of Colombia. And right next to this newer apartment building is this little, teeny, tiny, narrow, 3-story, tiny little home. Juxtaposed against these larger buildings that actually look smaller than it really is. How cute here on Q Street. You used to live on MacArthur. Oh, that area. The, like the Palisades area. That has to be my favorite area of Washington, D.C. Plus, I love the word Palisades. It's one of those words that I love. Like shenanigans. All right. Now we get a really good close-up view of this beautiful building at 2019 Q Street. Decorated beautifully with wisteria and cherry blossom. Appropriate for this time of year. There is an historic marker and a plaque up there, but it is also a private residence. So I am not going to walk up and read the sign, but I'll just admire the beautiful architecture. And no, please, beautiful architecture and decoration in this home. No, people belong in videos. There wouldn't be beautiful architecture if there weren't beautiful people. And more variety here. Oh God, y'all are making me hungry for cupcakes now. Who brought up the whole cupcake thing? Whose fault is that? Daphne? No, someone mentioned Georgetown cupcakes. That's what it was. Whoever mentioned Georgetown cupcakes. there's a tour going on up there. There is some event going on. Oh my gosh, and we're getting close to the time for the embassy open house. I will provide some information about that soon because I can't believe May is almost here. This is the Phillips Collection building that we took a look at from the other side of the road. Let me cross carefully. And then, oops, sorry for the sun. Back to the Embassy of Morocco right here. This underwent some renovation about a year ago. Looks fantastic during the day, and it's uplit at night. So it looks wonderful. This building at the corner, kind of in the center of the frame, I'm sorry, with the sun glare, that's the Embassy of Indonesia. And I was fortunate to be able to go inside the Embassy of Indonesia for an event last year, and they did permit filming. So I have film from inside the Embassy of Indonesia. Have I edited it yet? No. It's been about a year. I need to get that done. This is part of the Embassy of India. Embassy of India has several buildings. This is just one of them. And across the way in the little triangle park is the statue of Gandhi. Now, I remember way back when, many, many years ago, in 1997, when both Princess Diana and Mother Teresa died on the same day or just a day apart. And I went to the embassy, the British embassy, to put flowers there. And then driving back, I saw all the flowers here at the Embassy of India, realizing that that was honoring Mother Teresa. Okay, there's definitely, oh, this is art in bloom. So here at the American Revolution Institute, really what it is honoring the partnership and relationship between America and France, is an art exhibit this weekend, Art in Bloom, March 19th to March 22nd, and it's popular. There is a line. Always something going on in Washington, D.C. Always, always, always. Some of them cost, but a lot of the activities, museums, monuments, memorials, are free. So if you're thinking about a day trip, if you're in the area, something to do with the kids, it's also quite an economical adventure. Yeah, you're going to pay for a hotel, you're going to pay for parking. If you do a day trip, you don't need a hotel. But there's so much to do that's free. Oh, Roby. Oh, Roby, well, you know what? Not just me, but everyone here is wishing you well. We are such a friendly bunch. So everybody, hugs in the chat for Roby, please. Also, on my community tab in the channel, check out the photos that Roby posted of the beautiful landscapes around where he lives. And remember, everyone can post to the community tab on the channel page. I would love to see the historic architecture where you are. We're a really friendly group here, so please feel free to post. The Spy Museum is fantastic. It is. Now, you do have to pay for the Spy Museum and make a reservation. Oh my gosh, I've been twice, and now it's in a new location. It's fabulous. It is absolutely fabulous. Now, we're about a block from where we started, but I think we're going to end the stream here because this is just a beautiful picture. We have walked all, maybe we'll cross the street. Hang on. We've walked all of Q Street from the Rock Creek, about 1.5 miles west, east to the dead end at 11th Street and back. We just crossed over Massachusetts Avenue, Millionaires Row / Embassy Row. That is the beautiful Embassy of Estonia. That is just an apartment building. It's not just an apartment building. There is a cranky woman just screaming her head off on the corner, so I couldn't finish where I wanted to. This is the Embassy of Luxembourg, and we'll head back down to Rock Creek. Darn, that would have been a really nice way to end the stream, but cranky lady screaming her head off. Roby, huge hugs to you. This is a place to come to escape a little bit, to enjoy beauty and nature and history. I have no idea. I never know why people are yelling. Beauty, nature, history, a little bit of traffic, a little bit of crazy screaming people. But hey, we're all doing it together. On a beautiful day here in our nation's capital. I want to end the stream with a picture of this beautiful buffalo statue here at the Rock Creek Bridge. If we were to continue over this bridge, we would be in Georgetown. And so for a future stream, maybe soon, maybe in the next few days, on a future stream, we'll begin at the same place, but we'll walk west. And we'll see completely different architecture just across the creek. Check out that buffalo, bison, American bison. Bison. Guarding the bridge. And the other one just across the way there. Everyone, I hope you have a most magnificent weekend. I hope wherever you are, you have the opportunity to get out and enjoy beautiful weather, nature, blue skies, beautiful architecture, good people, wherever you are. If you'd like to, please join us for Film Club at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Stasis Geeks channel. We will review Project Hail Mary. Ooh, look at all those cups. The race finishing up here over the Rock Creek. This bridge goes over the Rock Creek. We will be reviewing Project Hail Mary. We will go into some spoilers, but we'll also give a warning before we get spoilery. So please check out Stasis Geeks channel. Everyone is welcome to Film Club. Now I've crossed over the Rock Creek and I'm in Georgetown. And we can check out the buffalo statues on this side of the bridge. And this is where we will start our next Q Street adventure. Take care, everyone.